You're such an asshole.
AssholeConsulting.com. It's Monday, and business is booming. Thanks to you guys for spreading the good word of Asshole Consulting. The world will never run out of assholes. All right, hey Aaron, I'm a 21-year-old guy from the United Kingdom. I have two business ideas that I believe have a unique selling point and could potentially attract high demand. I have two questions. It is my understanding that a typical business is comprised of the following departments: accounting, HR, purchasing, marketing, and the legal department. I was wondering if you believe it is wise to read a book on all or some of those fields before I create a startup. That's not a bad idea. I think that is very wise because, but here's the thing. Production and purchasing, maybe not. I mean, if you're selling a physical product, yeah. But if it's just a service, which increasingly numbers of businesses are, you're not going to have inventory. Like Asshole Consulting doesn't carry in. We do not have prepackaged assholes that you can buy in bulk or individually for just $19.95. Let's take a look here. Accounting, you might have a little bit of a finance department. HR, that's if you're hiring people, which I'd strongly advise against. I would just avoid hiring people. I know that we want to get businesses to hire people. Yeah, well then why do you make hiring people such a pain in the ass and such a legal risk? Screw it. So unless you're planning on hiring people, and if you are going to physically produce something, then you might have to hire those people. But I'd almost recommending outsourcing. Like, I would be contracting out everything. You especially beginning, you don't want to hire some social justice warrior, liberal arts, leftist graduate who's going to sue you, who thinks they're... Just avoid it. So avoid people. That's probably the best business advice I can give you. You outsource everything, and if it only really, really, really pays, you worry about hiring people. And even then, I sure as hell wouldn't hire them in the UK. I go to some second or third world place and where they're actually happy to have a job, and I pay them a fair wage and make them happy and loyal, and then they go feed their family. I'd rather pay that than some, self-entitled masters in English dipshit. But yes, I like, marketing, yeah. Legal depends on how many, what else you mean? Finance. Yeah, it's not that bad. I don't know if I'd waste your time reading entire books on, because actually you just read the previous video about what I did before, which is about the worthlessness of business degrees, is they just stretch them out. So if you even pick up a short book on marketing, it's not that hard. A lot of this you're going to be able to do without reading books. I'll tell you that, because it's common sense, it's logical, it's going to be very specific to your company that you're starting. But it's not bad to understand, at least, let's put it this way, understand how all these different departments work together. And then maybe go online. I mean, shoot, let's try this. Let's see, what's the point of HR? Let's just go to YouTube. What's the point of human resources? I unfortunately think these are going to be more editorial. Why is the internet just human resources? Yeah, so there's plenty of, introduction to human resources, introduction to accounting department, introduction to legal department. Yeah, here it's just there's a bunch right off the bat. So you could, after watching 3 videos of each department, you'll know exactly what each department does, and you know the role they'll play. You'll be predominantly doing probably production. You're going to be doing it all. Maybe outsource the accounting to your accounting buddy, but you're going to be doing most of these yourself, and it'll become very apparent what's required in each. But yeah, I think that's a wise idea to figure out how the different departments in a company work together and what purpose they serve before you go. But I would not be reading full books on them. There's not enough meat in those books, because they take simple concepts and stretch them out. My other question pertains to the business idea themselves. Forgive me if I get my head up my arse. One of these ideas requires expertise in a specialized field of mechanical engineering to produce the product, and the other an expertise in computer programming. I do not have these skills other than a very rudimentary understanding of programming. Rather than spending a few years of intense study to gain the requisite skill level to turn a complex but viable idea into a functional product, should I seek to partner with someone who is already an expert? I imagine that this hypothetical person would handle the product-related technical obstacles and I the non-technical tasks. If you agree with the later option, Do you have any tips on how I could meet such an individual? All right. Well, let's start. Other than where's the word? Should I seek to partner with someone who's already an expert? Here's where you get into the cash or equity. In the ideal world, what you're going to be building, it sounds like, is a prototype. You got some kind of physical product, and then you need someone to program it, to run it, give it the operating system. So you're going to need high level of skills of people, and there's two ways you can compensate people. You can pay them cash, or you can pay them equity in the company. A lot of people, when they have startups, say, look, I don't have any money, because you're a young guy, you don't have any money. And you say, well, I'll give you equity in the company. Most people will be like, go fuck yourself, pay me. I want fucking cash. And I don't blame them. And now the problem you face is that, hey, depending on what you're building, it could take it could cost $1 million to build what you're building. I don't know what you're building. I don't want to know. Don't tell me I don't want you giving away your ideas. And then the programming, that could cost a lot of money too. What you need to figure out is if you can get a prototype built. You know, if it's an RV, it's going to cost a lot. If it's a small little doodad, maybe not. But the best way to do this, try and find some buddies in college. See if you can find some mechanical engineer majors or whatever type of engineer you need. Yeah, mechanical engineering. Talk to some buddies in college that you trust. And here you can offer them a little bit of equity in the deal. Say, like, look, shit, dude, I'm like you. I ain't got no cash. Have them sign a non-compete agreement, meaning a non-disclosure agreement. They can't tell anybody what's about. Find some programming buddies. That would probably be the best. So you're talking your garage startups. You know, like Steve Jobs, where he's soldering and making the first Apple. That'd probably be the best thing. The next thing you can do is you can find engineer design companies. You put out RFPs on the interwebs, and you provide your specs, and you're going to go hire a regular mechanical engineer. It's going to cost a lot of money. And then you're going to find a computer programmer. It's going to cost a lot of money. And then you get to worry about where you're going to make it, which probably means China. You can talk to Glorious Carl about that, but this assumes you get a prototype and people are going to buy it. You find out there's actual demand for it. Well, now you got to make it somewhere. So you got to go over to China and have them assemble it. Now you got to worry about quality and cost control, but worry about that bridge when you get there. But at the age of 21, I'm just going to assume you have no money. Have your buddy sign a non-disclosure agreement. Find some buddies at college. If you know a cool professor who's in engineering, ask him or her. They might have some resources a little bit, because you can always go online. But what if the engineer's in India? Yeah, you can get a great job in India. And since you're starting, you need the prototype, and you need to be there to explain it. There's this element that you want to be around these people. You want to be physically there, talk to them in person. I mean, it can be done over the internet. Find out locally, so you're not flying people in from India and all these other expenses. Try to do it cheap with your buddies to see if it's possible or feasible. And try and build a prototype. Here's another thing with this. I have an idea too for an engine, and I have yet to get off my ass and build it. But I don't need to test the whole engine. I need to test one particular aspect of this engine. And it's not going to be that expensive. If there's a way for you to test the technology that I don't know if it's new technology, but there's a way for you to just test that critical path, that one key thing that needs to be done, without building a whole frickin' operating, working prototype, you're going to save a lot of money, and you might find out that your idea doesn't work, or there's some huge mechanical or physical problems that are insurmountable. Try to find out if you could build a very, very stripped down version of your prototype that doesn't cost a lot of money. Heck, you can even talk to some of these mechanical engineers, because these scientist guys will say, oh no, you can't do that. It violates this law of physics. It won't work. They may be able to shoot your idea down. In other words, you almost want to get shot down. You almost want your idea not to work, because then you know not to stop wasting time doing it. So you want to find out if it's even going to work in the first place, and you're going to do a really, really, really stripped down, like Tony Stark's first Iron Man suit. That's kind of what you want to do before you go back into the HQ and build the fully operational Mark 8 model. How many prototypes? So that's what I would do. Is I would start not necessarily in academia, but with college students who are desperate and poor and are going to be happy to work for peanuts. Beyond that, then yeah, now you're going to have to hire a professional engineering firm, and now you're talking a lot of money. But your first step should be to find out if this is even physical or viable. If it's a really good idea, I would not partner. I would not give away equity. You should be able, if it's really that good, like you got a really good idea, and it's going to look like you're going to sell, I mean, have your parents buy you out, or not buy you out, but provide the funding, or go borrow some money to build a prototype. I don't know, now you're going to go into the world of venture capital. Or angel investors. That's where you're going to go, and maybe they'll lend you the money. They're going to want a little bit of equity, but that's if you got a really good product. But make sure you get, your first step is to get a somewhat working prototype that you can show investors if you did want to ramp it up. I imagine this is terrible. Beat such an individual. Yeah, that's why start with your engineering buddies. Go online. See, again, a really cool professor, not some dipshit professor who's going to steal your idea. Ask your professor. There's entrepreneur clubs. That's another resource you can go to. It's like, hey, where do I find? Now, of course, you can find them on the internet, but maybe there's one local to you or through your university. Or it's like, hey, I have a business idea. Where do I go? The engineering department will know it too. I remember a buddy of mine. She headed up the solar car racing team at the U of M. They kept winning too. Like they'd place first, second, or third. They'd always place. They know because there's people with money knocking on their door, and engineers and companies are like, hey, what are you building over there? They're very curious. So go talk to those guys. Find out if you can find venture capital groups, engineers, companies that will build things for you, prototypes, manufacturers. And those manufacturers are like, okay, here's the kids at the solar car racing team. They don't need 1,000 of these. We're not going to mass produce them, but we can specially make this tool or this widget for them. So let's go through the university. Let's go through some engineering programs or the entrepreneur club or something like that. Not the business school entrepreneur club. That's just, hey, let's sit here and wear suits and act like we're business people. Go through the engineering entrepreneurship club. Yeah, and then if you also have yourself a really good idea, maybe come talk to me again. If all of a sudden this product, I don't want to know what the product is, but if all of a sudden like you come up with the next iPhone, okay, well, that's different than, I'm a 21-year-old and I think I can make a fart machine or whatever. Not to besmirch you, but I've seen enough young people come up with really stupid ideas. Well, don't worry, that's not going to get funded. You don't have to worry about it. Then you got to worry about going bankrupt yourself. So don't spend your life savings on it either. Let's take these introductory elementary steps first onto the entrepreneurship and building a prototype before you start signing your life away and getting a bunch of foreign investors. So, all right, that's all we got. You guys got questions? The old captain's got answers. ASLconsulting.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.